Hey guys, bman here. Check this out. We've got the build for you guys. Look at this damage. Kaboom! Whoa! 181,000 damage with a whole lot of others as well as an AoE. Massive damage, guys. And right here, we've got the Butcher. We can tank all that he can dish out, but he can't tank what we can dish out. As you see right here, deleted. Just like that. Wait, did you miss that? Don't worry, we've got that again. Another encounter. We can tank him, and he can't tank what we can dish out. See right here? Look at these numbers. 100,000 damage and hits against the Butcher, guys. And if you've encountered the Butcher, you know how tanky he is, and you know how much he puts out. So you know how impressive that is. Then we've got this right here. Look at these numbers, guys. Massive numbers into a big group cloud clearing. If you know the dungeon Iron Hall and the big massive groups of elites that are in those rooms, this build right here cleans them like a breeze. This is why I call it the vacuum sorcerer, because you just suck everything in like a vacuum, blow it up. As you see right here, it's epic and it's absolutely awesome. And one other thing you'll notice is we are an absolute tank. We don't take damage. As you see right here, look at this. Zoom in. We put out massive damage to massive amounts, and we don't take damage. We've always got a barrier up. This build is epic, guys. It's epic. I don't know how I could make this better other than just improving on what I'm doing, which is the cool thing, because this build is going to get way more powerful the more power gun points I get. It's not even at its peak yet, not even close, guys. So you see here, you use your ultimate skill and you just destroy everything, guys. It's so awesome, this build. Tanky, absolutely tanky. It's as if you're just not even getting attacked, pretty much. And you see right here, you don't even have to use your ultimate skill. You'll notice all these yellow numbers are critical hits. Look how often I'm hitting critical hits. I'm hitting critical hits like they're normal hits. Yes, this build is awesome. Critical hits means critical damage, and as you see, it's awesome. Then vulnerable, then stun damage on top, and everything all together. And mate, who needs the ultimate? But hey, it's there, so why not use it? When we blast the ultimate, as you see right here, gosh, we just destroy everything. It's impressive. I love seeing it. I love using it. You will too. So with that said, guys, but this is also just good for the open world. You know, when you're running around and you got to take out here and there, because of the crackling energy, that also critical hits with this build, which can do thousands of damage in that. So you can take out all sorts of scattered enemies easily as, and all sorts. For the missions, you can just pull them in. You're practically god mode. So those ghost missions where you have to stay in the circle, you can stay in that circle and ignore all the enemies while they're attacking you. They won't kill you. It's that broken. This build is just the build. The teleport, you can use that to go around areas that you would normally have to walk a long distance around. If you can see to there, you can just teleport it instead of having to go the long way. So you can use it to shortcut and all sorts. I'll show you some cool footage of that, guys. But with this build, it's just extreme damage, fast damage, get around everywhere really fast, can clear big areas, big mass clearing, take out single targets like crazy, can tank anything. It's the best of all worlds. It looks really impressive. It looks really cool. It's fun to play with. And guys, this build is actually really versatile, and at any point you can just adjust it for the other gear you want. If you want to muck around with another style, and you've got a little bit of cash, because it obviously just costs cash to change your skills around a little bit, and you can go around. But with that said, guys, this is the build. It's amazing. If you're not convinced already, this right here should convince you. Look at this, how you can just get over areas like that. Yeah, guys, come on. You want to try this build. With that said, get down there, smash that like button for me. It helps me out, and leave me an awesome comment. Share this video with all your friends. make sure you save this video for later so you can come back and keep check of this video. And with that said, guys, let's get straight into the build, guys. Okay, guys, we're going to start with our stats, okay? And then we'll get into the rest. This is going to be a really long video and long guide because I want to go over everything for you guys, how this works and how everything all intertwines together. So with this said, smash that like button for me and let's get straight into this. Now, obviously, we're level 76. And well, we'll start out by showing you guys, we're level 76 and I haven't done all of our round. I've only done Paragon points from this one, okay, and up to here. These other areas, I have not gained even the skill point from, okay? So I don't have all these skill points and I don't have all these extra Paragon points that other people's builds and stuff like that might have yet. So this has a lot of Paragon points that it could get added on at this level. This, I'm actually 20 Paragon points short of what I could be potentially at this level, guys. So if you go do your Paragon, you will be 20 Paragon points gruntier at level 76 than what this character is, okay? So you'll be potentially doing way more damage, because if we go into my Paragon points straight away, we'll show you that, guys, under here, straight away, a few more Paragon points and you'll see, look, I'm getting way more damage to stun, way more damage to stun, way more damage to elites, more damage to stun, more damage to stun, more damage to stun. So when I bring them in, so if I was just those few more Paragon points along, which that would be, I would have all these at this level and we'd be like doing another 50, 80,000 damage in our hits. That's how much difference that makes. But with that said, guys, let's get in and we'll get into where we're at and the stats. Now you guys know how much of our renown we've done and that we haven't got all of those stuff. We've only got 4 Paragon points from that. Now you know where we're at. Now, with that said, let's get into this. So, we're Sorcerer, so we're intelligence, because a lot of our damage comes from our intelligence. Now, people might not realize that a lot more comes from that than what it actually says there. Increases skill damage by 57%, right? But that is not all it does. See, our intelligence is 578. If we come into our paragons, and our paragons scale off our intelligence, right? So the more intelligence you have, some paragons will increase your damage by more based on your amount of intelligence you have, right? So say, where's a good one thing? For us, I think I've changed them now, so that's not the case for this one. They say based on your amount of your intelligence and stuff like that. Oh, here. Yes. For my next one. Sorry. I was looking ahead. So I'm going to be going into this one here, right? But look. This. Our crackling damage. Those crackling energy. Those do like 4,000 damage, right? At a critical hit. Once I get this, they're going to be doing 56 times. This is a times multiplier. And this is because the more intelligence you have affects how much things damage, right? So there's lots of your things in your Paragon that actually multiply up from your intelligence and stuff like that. So this has lots more than what it actually says here. Okay? So with that said, that's our intelligence. We're at 570. We've focused on that heavily. These other ones, they're just, yeah, they are what they are. Now, we'll go on to our weapons, alright? We've got our weapon damage, two-handed weapon, so it's a weapon speed of 1. But we're not at weapon speed 1, because our two-handed weapon has gained attack speed, but it doesn't actually say that here, because I don't know why. It doesn't. But we actually got that. We've got this from our armor as well. We'll show you later, we'll get to that. But the main thing I'm showing you here is our critical chance, right? We have a critical, and I'm focused on that. Normally, my critical will have, I would have this. Hang on. I've only just changed it now, and my critical was at 90, right? So I have a really high crit build, and 90 crit damage is why I do so much damage. Just like, I don't know, a little bit, just like a little bit right now. I just upgraded my ring, because this ring does 1,000 health. which makes me mega tanky. So I've swapped out that health just for that little bit of crit, but I haven't. If you notice, I've got the crit over here, so it's still crit, but it's massive on lightning crit, which is all my damage. All my damages are lightning, right? They're all lightning damage. So lightning critical crit and crit stacked together. So really, we've got 90 plus 70. So we've got 160% uncritical damage just there, right? So this does lightning critical damage, so we've got that, so it's better. So we're really heavily focused on crit. Now, our critical chance is way higher than this too, because of this here. When we have more speed, so if we dodge or something, our speed goes up way high, and this increases our critical chance a lot. So we do have a lot higher critical chance than here. So our crit's about 50%, maybe 60% when we're out there jumping around in amongst things, and then we're just putting out crazy crit damage, right? So that's some part of our damage, only some. Okay, then we have overpower damage. Don't worry about that. I didn't chose not to focus on that because this build doesn't trigger overpower very often at all. It's the orange numbers. When you see orange numbers, that's what the overpower is. It's not very often, but I do have very high overpower damage. Then we've got vulnerable damage. Now this is a really big one too, because that multiplies with this. Right, so you have your crit multiplier, and then you have your vulnerable multiplier, and they will go separately together and stack. Right. And they will. That's why I will have. Yeah, we'll get into that. So we've got this much vulnerable. Then we've got the all damage. Then we've got damage versus elites, but that's irrelevant. Crowd control is another massive one, because absolutely everything that we touch gets crowd controlled. Because crowd control, as it says here, is chill. Well, we chill everything we touch. Okay, and burn. So everything we touch gets crowd controlled. So this is awesome. Works for our build. Just an extra 52%. Awesome. Damage versus stunned, through the roof, 100%, because everything nearly is stunned. As soon as we teleport in, it stuns everything, and then we damage them, and then we freeze them, and then we damage them while they're stunned, still frozen, and everything. So this just stacks up, stacks up, stacks up. This is why our damage is so through the roof, because we're stacking this damage here with this damage, 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 and damage while burning. So we're stacking like about 7 different damage categories all together. And that's why we're getting 180,000, because we've stacked them all right, and they've just built all right up. But these aren't all the ones we're stacking. We're actually stacking more than what you're seeing here. So we'll get into that when we get into our armor, guys. This is just through the roof crazy. Okay, so we're stacking all of those, right? That's that. Then we've got crazy life. The reason we've got crazy life is because of these things here, but I focus heavily on life because that's all of our healing. A lot of our healing comes based off our maximum life. So the higher number of our maximum life, the more we get per second in healing. So that just breaks the game, makes us able to tank absolutely everything. Then we accompany that with healing received. So our healing, I was running this as well, which boosts that up to there, which boosts that right up to 60%. So if we would get 10 points in healing, heal for 10, well, with this on, with that stat there, we would actually receive 16. So for every 10, we receive 16 points of health, right? But we're way through the roof. We'll get to that later. So we've got that. So this goes through the roof with this health and our healing stuff that we'll get to later. Lucky hit, don't worry about that. We've completely, I've got no lucky hit chance. Armor is through the roof. We want it there. Keep it there. Armor's 50% of your defenses. It's good to have. We'll get to that, why it's so high. And then resistances. Poison, I focus on because that's the main thing that kills me. Well, used to. It doesn't anymore. But if it would, that was my weakness. Was because when you would kill a big lot of poison elites, and then they would leave the puddle there, and you're still there. And if you get stunned or something, when your powers are out and all of that, and you're stuck in that poison, that's what can kill you. So I got massive resistance for that, and slow resistance. Mana, Movement speed, massive bonus, because this is giving us critical speed based off this, and this goes way through the roof once these all kick in from that, so they all work together. And extra movement speed when we kill elites, which means extra critical chance, so if we kill an elite we get extra chance for crits. All works awesome. And yeah, so that is our stats, guys. You can just see they're all through the roof, crazy, awesome crit chances and other things stacking up. And as you've seen in the thing, what we do is we teleport, we suck everything in, and then we freeze everything, which makes them all vulnerable, frozen, and then we kill them with lightning damage while they're stunned and chilled, and that's a crowd control, and they're vulnerable, and we hit critical. That's why we're hitting for 200,000, guys. That's crazy. Now, with that said, let's get into the gear, and then we'll get into the abilities and stuff. So the gear we're using, right? So as you've seen, we had this, but well, it doesn't. Well, these are pretty much the same, really. If you see, the only difference between them is this one here has gives us a little bit more attack speed, and I'm running this one over this one because I don't need that extra healing, because I'm already that tanky that I don't need this extra healing. So with that said, I'm running this one at the moment because I get more attack speed. And attack speed, if you can get your attack speed to 100% attack speed bonus, you are doubling all your damage output, because instead of hitting once every second, you're hitting 2 times every second. So you're, instead of doing 10,000 damage a second, you're now doing 20,000 a second. So you're doubling your DPS if you can get your attack speed up to 100%. So I have this one on attack speed. I also have attack speed down here. Basic skills getting 56% attack speed, which is through the roof. That's why I put it there, because now I can have my two-handed staff that's normally really slow, fast. Okay, key. This makes it so I can pour out DPS when I need to, when my opens are up, right? Crazy. Means I can pour out DPS really fast when things are frozen and stuff like that. With those few seconds you have while they're thing, make the most of it, because you can attack fast, right? So with this thing here, how this works, this one's really awesome, because how this works is you gain armor for damage done, and how my build works is we teleport in and stun everything, right? Well, instantly we do damage to a massive amount, right? Now, straight away, we get this max damage, max benefit. Now, with this one equipped, we have 50%, right? 50% of this, so instantly takes our armor level value up to 7,500 armor. Instantly, as soon as we suck them all in, right? So we get massive armor. Then, we have this, and our other abilities we'll show you later, that gives us heal per second when an enemy is close to us. Well, our teleport sucks everything in close to us, and then bang, stuns them. So they're stunned, close to us, burning, pouring our health in. Instant health. We can have no health, teleport into a group of enemies, be full health, full armor, full shield and everything, and wipe them out. This is crazy, this build, how it all works. So then we've got that. That's our armor there, right? And there's our poison resistance, and I've restatted one stat out of the armor that was no good. I went and changed it to something that works, which I said, intelligence. It's really good. So I choose that. Now, I would also go for crit if I could. That's another stat I'd be focusing to try and get. Criticals or whatever the best works for you. But for us, it was intelligence here. Okay, then we've got this one. We can't alter these ones, but this is the one that makes the whole build. This is what makes it so your teleport sucks everything in and then stuns it, okay? So without this build doesn't work the way it does, okay? This makes this build, and you need this for this build. Until you get this item, I would suggest watching my other build videos and running different builds, or just running a build like you see here. You can run a build with thorns, but you won't be teleporting in. So all the skills we're showing you in this only are specific for having this chest piece, and I've made this build all around this, okay? That's why it's so overpowered, because it's actually custom built for this. So with that said, get that. Now you'll see I've put lots of healing received in, because, well, more healing, so then we're tanky, because with this here, our health effect. This is what makes us our mega tank, okay? Now, and we've always got mega barrier because effects that heal you beyond 100% life grant you a barrier to 72% of your maximum life, right? So, again, more life, more protection. More life, more barrier. Maximum barrier. So, right? It's based off that. So, again, pump my life up. Now, with that said, this here works ultimately with my god mode build that we've been running this whole entire time. With this here, as soon as we get any enemies close to us, they start healing us. Boom, instant barrier. We've got max barrier instantly. As soon as we teleport in, everything's close to us. That's instant health. Bang, we're instant at maximum barrier, which is 70% of our health. So then we've got 7,500 armor, we've got 4,800 life, plus 70% of our life as a barrier on top. Hello? Plus, we've got absolutely insane regen on our barrier now and our health because they're the same thing. Absolutely insanity. This is just crazy, and that's why it's so broken. So this here works absolutely crazy with this healing aspect, okay? And our healing abilities that we'll get into when we get into our abilities. So this right here is a second item that makes this build so awesome. Healing received boosts that up so that we can, our barrier just boosts up faster because we're getting bigger chunks of healing, which increase that barrier faster, okay? So that's why we always have mega barrier. These two here just work so well together. It's not funny, okay? These three. Then we have this here, right? Now, this here, I'm wanting to change this one out for this when I get this one in eventually. But at the moment, I've got this reset to intelligence, and that's not a stat that I want to put onto this. I want to restat this until I get what I have here. 4 ranks of chain lightning on these hands, and then I'm going to replace this with this because this here, as you see, gives lightning critical strike damage, and it's only a low level. I can pump this up to level 5 and that'll be maybe like 30% critical strike damage on my lightning. Mate, awesome. And attack speed and critical chance. This is gold mine, so I'm going to be throwing this on, but I'm waiting until I can restat it, the top intelligence first, because it's cheaper to do before I upgrade it. If I upgrade it first, then it's going to cost me way more to do it, so I'm just waiting off. But for now, we're running this one. So as you can see here, attack speed, as I've been saying, attack speed, if you can get that, it's doubling your damage output. You want to get to that 100% attack speed. Crit speed, and then I've wanted my chain lightning. But then we've got the imprint on this one. This imprint, you deal 40% times. Take note, that's a times, that's not a plus. Increased damage to stunned. Well, we pull them all in, we stun them. We do 40% times damage. Now you're starting to get, while we're getting so high in our values and nearly 200,000 damage, this gets even better, guys, even more crazier. So we've got that aspect on that. If you guys are wondering what the aspects are, the first name, I think it's the first name is the one that's the name of it. So if we come to this here, right, runic scalp of the crowded sage, then we come to here, crowded sage. See how it's got the last part of the name? That tells you the name of the aspect. So it's the crowded sage aspect is the healing aspect, right? So for this one here, the runic gloves of retribution, it's the retribution aspect that does the stun, okay? So same with this one and same for this one. The venture helm of disobedience, it's disobedience aspect that gets you this aspect that you see I'm using here, okay guys? So if you guys are wondering what aspect it is. Then we've got obviously the heirloom boots. Goes without saying, they're crazy, they're awesome. Increases your crit chance. We're a crit build. Awesome. Use it. If you can get them, obviously. But these are all situational. You need to be able to get them. So this is how it's built all together. Then we've got this here. The glorious staff. Now, the staff, look at the stats that this putting out. The reason I'm running a staff and not 2 weapons is simply because those stats are the stats that I want numbers on, and they're so huge. 50% damage to crowd controlled. Everything's that crowd controlled. Goes without saying. Extra 52% damage. Done. Damage to injured. Well, I think pretty much everything after it comes in and it's stunned, because you'll see I do massive stun damage when I stun things. It does damage. Then they're injured. Then I'm getting 78% damage more when I whack them. Goes without saying. Take it. Then 54% damage to close. We bring everything close. Stun it. Whack. 54% more damage. As without saying, damage to close, we want that. But then we've got lightning critical strike. And there's our lightning. All of our damages for this build are lightning strike damages. So anything lightning, you want it. Critical strike, we want it. This is why this works so well. Then we've put in blue gems that do critical strike to crowd controlled enemies, because everything that we touch is crowd controlled. So it's just extra 24% damage to when we critical strike on an enemy, because everything's crowd controlled anyway. So any critical strike we hit gets an extra 24% damage. That's just awesome. So that's that, guys. This is just synergizing so well together. Then you have this here. Now this here is awesome. 3 ranks of shocking impact passive. Yes, this necklace is crazy awesome. And we get 1 of all defensive skills. And I've imprinted on the healing one. As you see, it's through the roof healing for it. Always put the healing onto the amulet, because the amulet gives you an extra 50% value for that. And healing is something you really want to be able to get a little bit more of, because it's that tiny little bit more that makes it whether or not you can out heal the damage taken, right? The damage taken, and if you only need to be able to receive 2 points more than you lose to be able to increase in health, right? So that's why those little values really matter on healing. So put your healing into the amulet like you see here. Now before you imprint, level up the items. See, so like this, I would go and I'd level this up first before I remove it off this. Then it will get a higher value. Then when I imprint it, it'll be imprinted with a higher value than it was before. Okay, guys? Even the life per second will actually increase when you put it onto an amulet. So keep that in mind too. Then we've got this here. All criticals, we're going for critical strike. That's what we're focusing on. If we can get fit critical strike, that's what we're going for, mostly for this build. And then, well, I seen the maximum life and I couldn't look past that, because that 1,000 life, that's crazy. That is 10 health per second with our abilities, and crazy. It's just crazy. So that was just awesome. We wanted that. Then, well, we've got the aspect printed onto this one. This is the aspect. This is the concited band. So it's the concited aspect, right? And it deals 23% times. Another times, guys. Increased damage while you have a barrier. And we literally always have barrier. Always. Literally always. And if we don't, we also have the ice blast. Now, for some reason, I find that when I use my ice armor, it seems to give me an even more boost. So I'm wondering whether this is doubling when we have 2 barriers. I'm not sure there. It might be. I don't know what's happening there, but it seems to be more. If I activate my ice barrier, and before I do big damage things, my damage is way more higher. So there could be something there. Then we have this thing here, critical strikes, always what we're going for, and vulnerable damage. If you can get vulnerable damage, that's just as important as critical strike. Those two stack separately. So vulnerable will times your damage, and critical strike will do its times the damage, and then those two will be put together and multiplied together, right? So I think that's how it works. So if your critical strike's hitting for 70,000 and your vulnerable damage hits for 30,000, you're hitting for 100,000, right? I think that's how it works. So that's why I'm hitting for nearly 200,000, because I'm also doing the stunned and the chilled and lightning and all sorts of other stuff. But with that said, that's why I go for vulnerable, because it's another bucket, okay? They're different buckets. Then we've got the time stuff. That's in its own bucket. You deal 31% times, yes, times, more damage to stunned. Everything I hit stunned, because I pull them all in. They're stunned. So we've got 30 times. We've got 23 times. We've got 40 times. getting why we're getting so high in the values, and that's just with the aspects. That's not even getting into our paragons and all of the add-ons that we're getting into the paragons yet. So we haven't even gotten into all that stuff. But with that said, let's get into our abilities, guys. So take note, a lot of our stuff, there's a lot of points, ability points coming from this. So our defensive slots, we've got 1 in all our defensive and 3 in our shocking impact just from this amulet and stuff like that. So we do have quite a bit of stats coming in from stuff like this. This has glass cannon. This one has 4 of chain lightning. So a lot of the stats are going to be dependent on what, if you have this gear here to be able to put the stuff in, you're going to have to play around with it. But I can only show you what I'm running and show you what I use, right? And explain why. So obviously we're going back, we've got our core things here. Now first off, you've got Frostbite and you've got Firebolt, right? Frostbolt and Firebolt. The reason we have these two is they're very important, and you need to come down here to skill assignment, and you need to assign those into these slots. They're not automatically there. You need to assign them into there, right? And the reason we're using those two is because every enemy we touch applies burn. Then we have the ability to get all our burn buffs and multipliers and damage multipliers for burning enemies and resistances and everything. That's why it's so important. Same with the ice one, Frostbolt. Put it in here because it applies every direct damage from skills applies chill. Then everything's chilled, which is a crowd control. That's why absolutely everything we touch has crowd control because of this, right? So those two are what we choose to put into here, and that's why you need to buy those skills there, right? Now, with that in mind, keep in mind, everything's always burning. Everything we touch is now burning, and everything is chilled, right? This is why this ends up so overpowered. Now, our main attack, what we do with pretty much everything, is Arc Lash, right? So use it, put as much as you can into it, and get these other two right here, right? Then, what I use is Chain Lightning. We use Chain Lightning. I put as much as I can into here, but as you've seen, I managed to get the gloves that are putting 4 into Chain Lightning, so I could take some points out of Chain Lightning and put them elsewhere, okay? So you want about 5 on Chain Lightning, so it's doing its damage, right? Then we want to go down to here to increase the critical chance per bounce, and then you want to come to this one, which is why we're getting so much crackling energy. Chain Lightning critically strikes, it has 25% chance to form crackling energy. Now crackling energy, you see we're forming it everywhere, and it's just awesome. It just AoEs everything, and also you'll see further on in our skill stuff we use crackling energy to reduce the cooldowns of our teleport and stuff like that. So it takes our teleport right down to like a 5-second cooldown, which is teleport in, stun them, do your thing, then you can teleport again, it's crazy. So that's why we want crackling energy. Now we come across to our defensive skills. Now because of the amulet, we have 1 on all our defensive skills, but we've got lots of others, right? Now I have put 3 points into teleport because I want that cooldown down, because I want to be able to teleport as often as possible, right? Now, and our hat that we use has 8% cooldown reduction as well. So if you can get cooldown reduction in your items and your gear, that's going to help you with this build awesomely as well, okay? So we have that, and then we've got this, okay? This is important too, because when you teleport is decreased by 0.5 seconds per enemy hit, up to 3 seconds. So as soon as you teleport in, you hit the maximum, so it's just instant 3 seconds off your cooldown. And well, I have this at 9 seconds, so straight away we're to 6 seconds just from that, you know. So that alone is awesome. This is just from points. I wouldn't really actually have that there if I could, because it increases your damage taken, but for this build that doesn't really matter, I guess. Frost Nova, this is our source of vulnerability. This is what makes us do the big damages. So what you do is you teleport in, then you activate Frost Nova. It freezes everything and makes everything vulnerable. Then, while you're doing all the vulnerable damages, all the frozens and everything, goes without saying, on top of them being stunned. So you're stacking stun damage on top of all of this, okay? That's why it works so well. But you want to have a point in this, then you want to come down, killing enemies by Frost Nova just cooldown by 1 second, up to 4 seconds. That's more just to get to this. Frost Nova makes enemies vulnerable for 4 seconds, increased to 6 seconds against bosses. So making them vulnerable, obviously, and more damage. Big goal. Now we have ice armor, right? That's our barrier, and as I say, I find that I do way more damage if I activate ice armor, then I teleport in, then I activate my frost nova, freezes them all, and then I attack them with my ice armor activated. For some reason, I seem to do way more damage with my build, so I don't know whether this is counting as a second barrier or whether your other barriers don't count for that aspect, for the barrier active aspect, and whether it has to be ice armor. But when I activate my ice armor, it seems to be doing way more damage. So just keep that in mind, guys. So I run ice armor, and you can see the points contribution from my other gear and what I've put into it. Then we've got this one because mana regeneration. But really, to get to here, damage against vulnerable enemies contributes 50% more to ice armor's barrier. More barriers, why not? And well, everything's vulnerable. When we suck them in, we make them vulnerable, destroy them while they're vulnerable. So easy. That's easy got. Then we've got this one here just to get through to here, because whenever we use a cooldown, which is any of these three here, we get some barrier. More barrier, why not? Always good to have. But at this point, we might be able to save those points and go into more damage at this point, because we probably don't even need barrier that much at the moment. It's through the roof with our barriers as it is. Here, while you have barrier active, apply more chill. It's just an extra thing. I just like to apply a bit more chill. Got some points, do it. As you see, why not? Your barrier is active, has increased duration. I've got 3 points into that, okay? Then we come over to here. Now, keep in mind, everything we touch is burning. So, your primacy kills increase damage. We're not worried about that. We got the one in that so that we can get to this. You deal 30% times increased damage, increased critical strike damage against burning enemies. They're always burning, and we have crazy crit chance. Goes without saying, we're getting this. And if they're immobilized, I think that that would be better. I don't know if that counts for the stun, so we're not getting that immobilized part, but is what it is. When we do if we were doing our Thorns Fire Shield build, we would be getting that 75, but we're not. Okay, so that's irrelevant. That is for the 30%, because we get 30% times. Okay, now we go into here. We've got static discharge. This just creates more crackling energy. Cool. But really, we've got that so we can get to this. And as you see, we've got this at 6, not 3, because of our amulet adding 3 onto it. And as you see here, every time you stun an enemy, you deal nearly 4,000 lightning damage to them. So when I pull them in, I automatically stun them, and then I do massive damage to them, which has chances to crit, and even it's 90% of our lightning damage, which is just like an attack to everything that I suck in. Every 5 seconds I can do that. Crazy. It's awesome. It's overpowered. It's my vacuum. Then we've got this here. Deal 9% more damage to everything chilled. Absolutely everything we touch is chilled. And then more damage to frozen. Well, once we suck it in, we freeze everything. So we've got that too. So it goes without saying, we've got that one on 3 points on that. Then we have permafrost, just so we could get to that. But skills deal 5% more damage to elites. We don't have trouble killing elites, so that's kind of irrelevant, as you've seen in the footage. Hitting enemies with shock skills increases critical strike chance, right? So we got that. That stacks up until we hit criticals. Helps us get criticals. Anything for criticals. We're a crit build. Awesome. Then we're running our unstable currents as our ultimate, because it puts, when you run that, it's so satisfying. Not even need it with this build, but hey, when you run it, that's just goodbye to the whole whatever's on your screen. Then we've got one in this. Now you could put a couple more onto this if you want some more mana, but we don't need that because of what we've got in our paragons. You'll see later. But if you don't have my level of paragons, you might want to put some more into this so you can run your chain lightning a little bit more. But I've really just got that into that and into here to get to here. Now keep in mind, everything we touch ends up burning. We suck everything into us with our teleport. They're burning. Every 1 second, you heal for 43 points for each nearby burning enemy. Healing, and this is uncapped. This is why I'm practically invincible when I'm in a mob. Because if there's 30 of them there, I'm getting 43 points of healing health from all 30 of them. 43 times 30 per second. If there's 100 mobs around me, I'm getting 4,300 health per second. It's broken, okay? And then times this, add on the times of my healing received is like 60%. So we're getting even 60% more on top. Plus, we're getting all the healing from my amulet, which adds healing on. So we're getting nearly 200, 300 health per second per enemy that's near us. So that's why I'm practically invincible. And then that turns into barriers. That's why I've got never-ending barrier, guys, because of those there, because we've got them burning and we suck them in close to us. They're always around us. Enemies are our health potion. It's crazy. Only time we would ever get downed is if there's one enemy that's stupid, like the butcher, but as you've seen, he can't down us. So even then, now with this build, the butcher can't even do it, so nothing really kills us. Only thing that kills us at this point is Lilith, level 100, because that's just the broken fight. She's level 100, 30 levels ahead of us. But with that said, guys, that is the build, and we've got this passive right here, overflowing energy. Crackling energy hits one additional enemy each time. Crackling energy hits an enemy, your shock skill cooldowns are reduced by 1 second. Increases 25 seconds each. See, so that decreases this here, which is the awesome cooldown, because I think this is classed as a shock skill. It says there, defensive and shock. So it's our teleport. So that helps bring our teleport down so much more, and we just have our teleport back so fast, and you've seen our teleports. It's awesome. So with that said, guys, that is all of our skills that we've got here. Let's get in and show you guys our paragons. Now keep in mind that everything we touch, we are dealing lightning damage, we're dealing fire damage, they are burning, and they're chilled. And we're dealing cold, they're chilled, okay? So they're chilled, they're burning, and they're lightning damage. And nearly everything we encounter, we stun. So we're doing those 5 things, right? Into the paragon. So for our paragon, we chose, for this, we have the base starting one. We've gone up. Then we chose the chilled one. So this is the damage to chilled. Here's our legendary node. Killing frozen enemy grants you maximum life as a barrier. We annihilate frozen things for breakfast, lunch, and tea. So this goes without saying. We got crazy barriers, right? And our other board that we got was the static surge board, and stunning close enemies restores 10 enemy mana. So that's why we stuck them in. It gives us full mana, and we can just blast away. Go gold. Get heaps of mana. Awesome. But with that said, guys, let's go over the nodes that we've got, right? So as you see here, we've gone this path here. Go over each of them for you. And we've got this glyph right here. Again, vulnerable damage. I've gone for vulnerable damage. Now that is a plus 6%. That one isn't the very powerful one. But the next one below it, dealing vulnerable damage, dealing to a vulnerable enemy increases your damage by 1% times. Those times ones are so powerful. Do not overlook them. You see a times, you want that, okay? Just put that in your head. Those times are powerful. For 6 seconds, up to 10% times, okay? Crazy. This increases your damage. This is just awesome. If I freeze something and kill it, then after that, for 6 seconds, I'm doing damage to with every single other hit. It's crazy. Awesome. Extra. I love it. That's why I'm running that. Then we've got up to here. Come up. Just following through intelligence, mainly focusing for intelligence, and then going through here just to get this, so we got more intelligence really, because this here is based on intelligence. So we've really just got the basic things in here to be able to get the bonus from this. Dealing fire damage, cold, or lightning damage, we're dealing all 3 with every hit to an enemy, increases all your damage dealt to them by 5 times 5% times for 10 seconds, stacking once per enemy. So 15% times. Yes, it's crazy. Paragon nodes within the thing get the extra 21% bonus to their non-physical damage. So there's none in range, so it doesn't really matter. They're not doing non-physical, so that part's wasted. But it's more about that top part there, right? Then we've come up to here, and we've got this. We've got damage to chilled, damage to chilled, damage to chilled. This is why we're damaging so much, doing so much damage. All this, because we're chilling everything we touch, we get this damage percentage to everything we touch, right? Then we've come up here to here. Non-physical damage, damage to chilled, damage to chilled, damage to chilled, damage to chilled, non-physical damage, damage, non-physical damage. As you see, you get it, we're just getting heaps more damage. We come through just to get this node, to get our barrier. Then we've come through to get to the next board, our shock board, right? Our static shock. We've come up just to get to our damage to stunned, damage to stunned, damage to stunned, damage to stunned. Then we've come along here, come down, come along, come down, and we're getting every single life one. If it increases your life, I'm grabbing those as well, because increasing our maximum life obviously increases our healing and everything. Goes without saying, you want those just as much as you want your damage. Then we've come across, we've got this one, increase our mana, and then we've come across and we're starting to get these ones, damage to stunned, damage to stunned, damage to stunned, stunned. Then after that, I'm going to come up to here, damage to stunned, damage to stunned, put a node into here, fill this out. Then we're going to come down, and then I'm deciding for whether or not to do burning, because everything that we touch is burning. So if we do this and we do the damage to burning enemies and damage to burning enemies and damage to burning enemies one and resistance to burning enemies, that's just going to buff our character even more for damages, percentages, another whole bracket of different stuff for the to burning to add on, which is just going to push it to maybe 300,000 per hit. And then we're also going to get all the buffs of the resistances for burning resistances. Or I might choose, I'm still on the fridge, or whether or not I go to this one here and make my crackling energy powerfuler, because this right here, 58 times, and that number is going to go way higher the more intelligence I get. That could almost get to like 80 times damage output for the crackling energy, which is hard out going off everywhere. And if that's the case, that sounds broken good. So yeah, with that said, guys, I just got kicked for showing you, but we've finished showing you. So awesome. The server's just beating it off. But with that said, guys, that is this awesome build, and I'll end it with showing you guys this awesome dungeon that I've been using to get all my loot and everything, guys. This dungeon right now is absolutely broken, and we'll finish off showing you guys, letting you guys see the gameplay of me going right through the dungeon. The dungeon that I'm talking about, I'll show you once we get in. Is right here. Right over here, Alder's Cave, okay? So this is the one that you want to come to, right here. Alder's Cave, and the other one that I was at, that was the big groups of elites in it and stuff like that, which is a second dungeon that's a cool one to run for stuff, is right here. So you come to here, you walk up here, come to here, and it's this one here, Iron Hold, guys. So those are the two dungeons that you want to run, and I'll leave you guys with some gameplay of me going through this dungeon over here, and you guys will see, just count how much legendaries you see me getting from this one run and how fast we do it. And you'll also see this awesome build run through it. With that said, guys, thank you guys for watching my videos. Make sure you smash that like button for me. Make sure if you're wanting to watch this later and follow this build for when you come do it, put this video into your saved videos box, and make sure you have an awesome day. bman.
I'm not ready yet.
How long am I gonna stay here? This place is...
Out of mana. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I need time to prepare that. I'm not ready yet. Low on precious mana. I need time to prepare. I need time to prepare that. I need time to prepare that. I'm out of mana. I'm not ready yet. I need time to prepare that. I lack the needed mana. I need time to prepare that. I'm out of mana. I'm not ready yet. I cannot carry more. I cannot carry more. I cannot carry more. I need time to prepare that. burden is too great.
I'm not ready yet.